So the first thing we'll be going to do today is watching over a short video clip of Jason fencing in the 2015 Doha Grand Prix. So this is Jason versus Gautier Gumier in 2015, which, as you know, he's one of the top fencers at that time, and he actually got third at the Rio Olympics. The score is 13-13, and as this bout is going to the wire, let's see what Jason does. Wow, Jason, that was some amazing fencing. All fencers, including myself, have been in those situations where the bout is coming down to the wire. It's 13-13. You get that crucial 14th touch, but then they tie it up with a single touch. What are you thinking mentally during that time to compose yourself and bring it back to win 15-14?
So I think it's important to understand that Grume was ranked #1 in the world for most of my life, and I had in fact drawn him 3 times before in the past 2 years, and he beat me pretty easily every single time. So I had a very specific game going into that bout, and I also knew that, I had no illusions. He was a better fencer than me. He had a lot of advantages, and my plan was to pull the bout in a direction where I could turn it into more of a sort of like grit fight fest and turn it into a one-touch situation. So while it's not ideal to lose the 14-13 lead and turn it into a 14-14 touch, it was important to me the entire bout that was my plan. That no matter what happened, the plan was to create a one-touch situation, ideally to win. And I always felt like that was very important because part of the reason why I lost those bouts to Gourmet before was chasing him. Once the lead started even opening up, I began to move outside of my game plan and fell into his. And that was how he extended the lead and beat me every single time. So more than anything else, I was determined to maintain that focus no matter what happened, no matter how many touches I gave him, no matter how embarrassing they were. It was all about maintaining that range around one touch to get to the win. So once I had 14, it was cake. It was like, well, I met my goal here, so, there's no need to trip.
So Jason, in this particular bout, was there anything that happened, anything before the bout that kind of was a little bit unusual that kind of got you fired up? Any backstory behind this bout, kind of building into it?
Yeah. I mean, this bout was very important to me at the time because I really needed a big result in Doha to kind of stay in the Olympic race. We had already kind of blown it to qualify the team, so it was turning into a race to qualify as an individual, and I was trailing Ben Bratton by quite a bit at that point, I think. So then drawing Grumier was like, okay, well, this was literally the worst thing that could possibly happen to me after barely squeaking by the skin of my dreads in the first day. And then, I had my plan. I thought a lot about it. I was feeling okay. And then I was warming up in Doha, and I looked over, and I saw Grumier warming up with his coach, who was Hughes Aubry at the time, and they were warming up left-handed. And I saw him warming up left-handed. And of course, I'm right-handed, and I lost it. Like, I became so pissed off that he had beaten me, but it's just like he wasn't even thinking about me as a bout. He was already taking a left-handed lesson. So then, again, like, the only thing was like, all right, like, first thing I'm going to do is I'm taking this dude's head off. Like, we're past trying to qualify for the Olympics. Like, I had a pretty disappointing season, but, the day someone doesn't even bother to warm up with the same hand as me, it's like, it was I totally saw red, switched the mode, and was just like, okay, we're going to, like, I'm taking his head off. This is turning to one touch. And it's just like, if nothing else, this guy's going to bleed. So.
And it's also important, I think, for everybody to recognize that if you don't know Aubry and you don't know the situation, you probably would get into the same spot that Jason was. But if you did know Aubry, you would know that Aubry is a lefty. And as a coach, he was probably just giving a standard left-handed lesson. But sometimes it's really interesting, sometimes the things that can motivate us and kind of get us fired up, which can be important when kind of making a big critical change against in this exact case, a world number one.